All right, what's going on, everyone? We have 5K ultra wide today, and I'm going to see what a 5090 can do at this extremely high density resolution here. So right now we are at the complete low settings, no ray tracing, no frame generation, no DLSS, just straight DLAA. Nothing's going on other than just raw pixels here. So let's just jump into it. 110 FPS, it's pretty flat looking. We can definitely do better than this. So let's jump over and see what we got going on here. So I just wanted to show everyone I am on 5120 by 2160. So we're going to come over here and go to graphics. So as you can see here, I have no scaling on whatsoever. We're just using DLSS, no scaling. So basically DLAA, no frame generation. Latency mode is on auto. That will kick in once we turn on frame generation. And of course, ray tracing is off. So let's go to medium and just go and apply that and come back into it. We're going to get a nice little uptick in our visual quality here. So we're at 95 FPS here. So as you can see, we're starting to get around 100 FPS on native. So this is going to be interesting once ray tracing and the higher settings come into play. But our frame time graph is looking pretty good. This is not anything that is unplayable by any means at all. It's really nice and smooth. This game still has some stutter issues that just unfortunately are not resolved no matter how much hardware you throw at it. Until they fix it, this is just the way it is. But yeah, we're looking like about 100 FPS here. So let's keep on going and see what we can expect with that next level of high. So high looks really good. I really like the high setting on this title. It looks the best without getting very high, and as you go up you start to get diminishing returns. As you can see, man, some stutters really bad right there starting to happen, but let's just give it a little bit. Okay, so it looks like it's was probably just trying to update some stuff, but traversal stutters on this game are just part of the game. What you're seeing is no fault of the GPU. It's just the game itself has really bad stutters. The UE5 strikes again kind of thing. But yeah, we're looking like about 85, 80 FPS here. So as we go up, closer and closer to more and more high fidelity settings, we're going to have to start using some upscaling. I'll usually cut that off around 60 FPS, but we're just going to see. This is kind of a unique test. I just wanted to see what would break a 5090, and I thought one of these ultra wide resolutions would be pretty cool to take a look at. These monitors are not super available. They are out there, but you're probably going to see more and more of them in the coming years. So let's jump over here, go to very high. All right, so very high, no help whatsoever. That gets us under 60 on a 5090. So yeah, I mean, this resolution is pretty intense. We don't have any ray tracing yet, so once we do that, it's really going to get crazy. All right, so 57, 55. Let's see what just cinematic can do. I believe that's the next setting here. So let's go up to cinematic. Yep. All right, so we got cinematic, no ray tracing, no frame generation, straight DLSS. What do we got here? All right, so we're down in the low 50s. Latency's right around 40 milliseconds, which latency's not bad at all. Crept up to about 60 FPS here. So, you're not 60 all the time, but once you kick on ray tracing, it's going to be quite nuts. Oh man, I blew that. Come on. There we go. All right, let's go over here and see if we can combo this dude. There we go. All right, yeah, so let's jump over to that next level and see what we can expect. So I'm kind of going through this with a little bit of caution here, to kind of hold my breath and turn these settings on. So let's go to ray tracing. Let's go low first. It's going to need to restart, and I'll be right back. All right, so here we are back in it. We have ray tracing set to low, cinematic settings, and we are at 33 FPS here. No DLSS is being activated yet. I just want to see kind of how far we can, how low the frames will truly get if we run this with no help whatsoever from DLSS. So right here we are looking like pretty rough. Yeah, so let's go up on our ray tracing and see what we can expect there. Latency's creeping up, mid 60s sometimes, and 1% lows are 16 FPS. A lot of stutters, a lot of frame time issues. This is just more of a how to destroy a 5090 kind of video, and this game will definitely do it. But yeah, let's jump over and see what we can do with let's see what we can do with a little bit more ray tracing. Let's go to medium. All right, so this will push it a little further. 1% lows are, we'll give it a second. It's gonna let it gather some frames first before we make a judgment too quickly. But yeah, we are looking about 29 FPS here, and it looks like 4 FPS is your 1% low. That's insane, because, and that's just a large part to do with these bad stutters. See it drop down to 3 there. This game just still has issues. It's fun as hell, though. I do overlook the technical issues with it, but yeah, it definitely has some. So don't let it ruin the game. It's a really good game. I played it all the way through. I beat it maybe a year ago, and yeah, it's really good. So yeah, let's come down here and go to let's go to that ray tracing level of very high. So this is completely maxed out with no help from DLSS whatsoever, and no frame generation. And on a 5090, you are at 23 FPS at ultra wide, ultra high definition, basically 5K ultra wide. I'm not sure what you even technically call this resolution. I call it 5K ultra wide, or something like that would probably be fine. But yeah, we're looking about 26 FPS. So with some DLSS and the help of DLSS 4.5, we could potentially get this up to a very playable experience without too much help from, you know, all the different upscalers and whatnot. So let's just come in here and go to our DLSS. Let's bring this down to 67, which will give us a quality upscale. And we do have the overrides enabled. That gives us a nice boost up to 40 FPS and 50 milliseconds there on our PCL. So we are looking a lot better. We're not 60 yet, but we do have some promise here. So right now we're at 40 FPS, and yeah, we are pretty much just maxing this thing out. I mean, the card itself is pulling up to 580 something watts at times, so we're definitely stressing this thing out. But yeah, we are looking about 46 milliseconds on our PCL. Let's come over here and just jump into a little bit more upscaling. So we're going to go to that 58. So this would be a balanced upscale. It's going to stay on preset K. This will give us, yeah, 55, 56 FPS here. 1% lows. Give it a second to kind of recalculate. Hopefully that is not going to stay that low. Again, there are bad stutters, but I don't think they're quite that bad. But yeah, we're looking 41 FPS or 41 milliseconds on our latency, and let's go ahead and get these dudes taken care of. Man, I just love the animation in this game. It is just a nerd out every time I see it. It's so good. Very cool. All right, yeah, he's gonna blow up. All right, so what does it take to get to 50? All right, with everything completely maxed out, we can probably do it with a performance upscale. So let's go to 50. All right, so this will be a performance upscale, and on a 5090, this will give you barely over 60, but you're over 60. We drop down to that preset M, which is the new override model. Really, really good. 4.5 is amazing, especially on performance and ultra performance. So right here, again, you are right at 60. So this wouldn't be a bad place to potentially look at some frame generation. Before I do that, I'm going to see what ultra performance does, because again, that new preset is extremely good. And if you see any sort of frame tearing, that's just because once we go up some more, especially on the lower FPS and the higher FPS as we go up, if you see any frame tearing, that's just because YouTube is locked at 60 hertz basically. So anything above or below that falls out of sync, and you start to get frame tearing. You know, hence the you know, notice that I'm giving you right now. So yeah, let's jump up to ultra performance and see what we can do there. So ultra performance, I forget where it clicks over. There it goes. So 39. So this is ultra performance, and it should swap over to L. Yep, there we go. Okay, so ultra performance gives you 100 FPS. Now, I will say I'm seeing some shimmering in the grass, of course. This game does have a shimmering issue that does not really seem to have a solve. I don't really know how to get rid of it. It's just it's been part of the game since I've played it, and sometimes even going down in your upscale. That kind of sounds like a weird sentence, but you know what I mean. It will get rid of the shimmering, so it's just kind of like these weird pockets of upscaling that gives you more shimmering, kind of independent of, you know, the performance it might provide, which is kind of strange, but I've just noticed this on this game. But I digress. So 100 FPS right here, ultra performance. This is awesome. I mean, you've got 23 milliseconds of latency, 90 FPS without frame generation. You do have a little bit of shimmering, so this would be a setting that I wouldn't necessarily like to play myself. I like to have, you know, as little shimmering as possible. It's very distracting, especially some of that grass in the background. You can kind of see it just, it almost looks like it's going in and out of, like someone's just doing like a slider on your, you know, like how radiant it looks or something. The exposure, I guess. It's like an exposure slider in like Lightroom or something. But that's kind of what it looks like. But yeah, we're just going to see what we can do here. Let's go back to performance. And I want to check our, I want to check not only our FPS here, but I want to check our, let's go ahead and apply that. I want to check out our frame generation and what latency it might add, or, you know, how bad it might get. If I can find it. There it is. All right, so go 2x. All right, so 2x frame gen on top of performance. So notice we've gone back up to that preset M. We're at 115 FPS, and our latency is very low, considering what all we have going on here. So this is really an excellent way to play this title right here. I wouldn't go up any further on my frame generation, simply because my latency is, you know, high 30s, low 40s at worst. So that's extremely acceptable to me, especially on a controller. I talk a lot about playing on a controller. I don't have the greatest hands in the world anymore. I get really bad hand cramps. So I play on a controller quite a bit just because WASD really, it aggravates these nerves right here. And, yeah, just years of doing that. I've had to switch over to controller. So I say all that to say that if you're on a controller, you don't have any problem right here with latency. And if you're on mouse and keyboard, I would find this perfectly acceptable as well. But yeah, we are looking like 120 FPS here. So this would be absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong with this at all. I just want to explore more, just to kind of give people who might want a little bit more, a little bit higher frames, just to kind of see what it does with our latency. So this would be a 3x. So our latency crept up just a tad, you know, about 38, 40 milliseconds. So it's hanging out around 45, yeah. So the 3x does give you a little bit more latency, but it's not bad at all. You're still under 50, which is kind of like my personal threshold for mouse and keyboard. I can tolerate a little bit more than that on controller, maybe up to like 75, 80. But right here, this is also another way to say you have a 144 hertz monitor and you want to run it like this and then go in and cap it to 44 hertz, not worry about any frame tearing, have perfectly smooth, stutter-free experience. That would be one way to do it for sure. Now notice at this particular point in time, my frame time graph is nice and flat. So there are kind of these little settings that you can discover that do help the stuttering, and this looks like it would be one of them. I'm not an expert on that by any means, but just looking at this right now, this seems to be really helping out the stutters quite a bit. And it might just be that frame generation kind of filling in those gaps, but you know, 1% low of 46, 49 FPS. Now it does stutter right here on that light that's coming in. It always does, so that's kind of an anomaly. But yeah, right here, 168 FPS with a 1% low of 46. Yeah, that's not bad considering the absolute crazy resolution we're at right now. So let's come in here and go up to 4x, just kind of confirm what this will do with our latency. That gives you a 200 FPS experience. Latency didn't get too much worse, about 50. It's probably going to settle out just under 50. With 190 FPS here. So really, you know, at the end of the day, you can get 200 FPS on a 5K ultra wide, or whatever you want to call this resolution. I don't know. I'm just going to say 5K ultra wide, because yeah, that's what I see it pop up as a little bit on these monitors that are just starting to come out. They're pricey, but you know, if you got the cash, they'll sell it to you. That's something I've learned. But yeah, we are at 220 FPS here. All right, so let's go to ultra performance and see what we can just really crank this thing all the way out to. Let's go back to 2x and then come into here and bring that down to, what was it, 39, I believe? Yep. Okay, so 39 with a 2x. So this would be ultra performance. Man, ultra performance just looks so good on this new model. That preset, that L preset just looks, it's insane how good it looks. Anyway, 2x frame gen here. A little bit of a stutter there. We're getting some bad stutters right here, so this might not be a viable setting. But again, different areas. This game really struggles with not just traversal, but especially whenever you are going to new areas. You can adjust your shader cache. That's a whole nother thing you can do through the NVIDIA panel. The NVIDIA like panel, not the pretty application, but like the old ugly one. If you go into there, you can find a way to up it to like, I think 10 gigs or something like that. Usually that's what I have here. So I don't know if it's even doing anything, but yeah, right here we're at 33 milliseconds. Preset L looks really good. 2x frame gen. All right, so let's jump to kind of round it out with some more of these upscales, or not upscales, frame generations. All right, so 210, 217, 1% lows in the low 50s. Not too bad, you know, definitely smooth. That latency is just kicking ass right now with that ultra performance on top of the auto. You know, what it's doing is whenever it detects that you're using frame generation, it will turn on the reflex, so you get a lot better latency. Now you do have to put up with a screaming GPU. You probably don't hear it through the microphone here, but the 5090 is it's doing some work right now. So it's keeping itself cool, but it's still doing some work. As you can see, it's about 68 degrees, so that's a bit high. You know, once it gets close to 70, I start to kind of like, you know, it's getting a little warm, but as long as it stays under 70, that just kind of show you that it is doing some work right now. Let's go ahead. These dudes are really not fun to fight. Come on. There we go. Nice. Love the animations. All right, so let's go up to 4x here. I'm going to crank it up one more time, kind of give you the last hoorah here. This is the fastest you can run it, all completely maxed out. So right here, these dudes are like, they don't have a hitbox until they wake up. Let's see. They're pretty easy though, honestly. There we go. Nice. All right, so oh, he's still alive. Gotta fix that. There we go. All right, yeah, so we are at 283 FPS. So really a way to play it. Just kind of looking at the settings. Cinematic is great and all, but it is very much diminishing returns. I would personally 2x this thing, and I would go up to performance. I think it looks really good on performance. I think that's perfectly fine. And then I would leave my ray tracing all the way up, but then I would probably come down to probably high or very high. I'm just going to see what it looks like on high. So everything's basically, you know, cranked out other than the normal settings down there. Let's give it some time to build these shaders up a little bit more. As you change settings, it likes to kind of struggle a little bit, but this right here is probably how I would play it. I feel that high or very high tends to look just as good, if not a little bit better than cinematic. Cinematic gives it this kind of like ethereal haze that is pretty stressful on the GPU for, in my opinion, just not that much of a visual upgrade. So yeah, this is high. Let's go to very high and see what we can expect there. So really want to pay attention to mainly our latency as I jump through these, if I can find the right place. Okay, yeah, so let's go up to very high because it looks like we could have, yeah. So this is probably how I play it. You get a lot more ground scatter, you get better looking textures, and as you can see, our latency is still very acceptable. It's 38 milliseconds, 39 milliseconds, over 100 FPS here. So yeah, this is probably how I would play this title. Maybe lock it to say like 90 and then just enjoy it from there. But yeah, this has been a pretty good look here. I just wanted to see how stressed out we can make the best consumer GPU sweat a little bit. So if you like this kind of thing, just drop a like. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. If you're not new and you come back, thanks a lot for being a repeat offender. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the very next video. Peace.